Okay. You got it?
Hello, my name is Greg Arabian. I'm Major, honorably discharged from the United States Air Force. And I'm here with one of the comrades of the AMVETS Post 41, Corporal Paul S. Masubian Post. And we are taking an oral history today of one of our comrades, Arthur Papazian. Arthur, this is going to be a very informal story of what you recall from your experiences in the service. And from what I understand, Arthur, you were drafted into the Army of the United States from Providence, Rhode Island. So Arthur's a Providence boy. And you can center in on Arthur because you don't have to look at me all the time, okay, to your military history, okay? Now, Arthur, tell me, where were you born and brought up?
Providence, Rhode Island.
Really? And where'd your parents come from?
Armenia.
What part of Armenia?
Tarsus.
Where?
Tarsus.
Tarsus?
Yeah.
Now that sounds like Greece.
That's in Turkey.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So your parents came from Tarsus?
Yeah.
Both of them?
No,
Where'd your mother come from?
that's where she came from.
And your father?
Palu.
Palu. Oh, you're a Pavlitsi.
Yeah, Pavlos.
Oh, very good, very good. So you're an American veteran of Armenian ancestry, is
Yes.
that right? That's Rhode Island, and at some time you left Providence to come to Massachusetts?
Yes.
About when was that?
1954.
54. Mhm. And where'd you come to Watertown?
Watertown.
And how old were you at that time?
26.
26. And did you have an occupation or a trade?
A rotogravure.
What do they do? What's a rotogravure do?
We print wall.
Get paper to wrap the papers in, and that's printed by a rotogravure.
Right.
Do they still have rotogravures
We
now?
still do.
I see. And where did you work at that time?
Northeast Paper Converting Corporation
Where are they?
in Providence, Rhode Island.
I see. So did you still work in Providence when you moved to Massachusetts?
Yeah, no, I didn't.
You do.
I got married.
You got married. I know that's a big job.
Yeah.
But
Oh, then I worked for the Star Market.
uh-huh. Okay. And when you worked in Star Market, that's where Paul Masubian worked at one time.
Is that right?
Yes. I'm told that he worked with some of the other comrades. What was the status of your education? He's a high school graduate,
High school graduate.
and you didn't go beyond high school?
No,
Okay. And when did you join the service?
I didn't join. I was drafted.
Okay. When was that?
1951.
Into the Army?
Right.
Okay. And was there a special reason why you were drafted? Was there a conflict going
Well,
on?
the conflict was going on.
Which was that, the Korean?
Korean,
And where did you go for your initial intake?
Fort Devens.
And what did you do there? Just
The
initial?
process through to Fort Dix for my training.
Okay. And what did you do at Fort Dix?
I took my basic training,
And that consisted of?
marching, rifle, running, infiltration.
Infiltration, was that something that was new in the training?
Not really. I heard of it before.
What was infiltration defense like? What was training for infiltration defense like?
Running and try to go under barbed wire, under fire.
And did this also involve defending against infiltrators into your unit?
No.
In other words, this was infiltration where you would be the infiltrator into somebody else's unit.
That's right.
Is that correct? And you also were trained in rifle? What kind of rifles did you use?
M1s.
And any special distinction in a rifle?
No.
No marksman or anything
No.
like that? But you were able to shoot?
Yes.
Okay. Did the M1 have a clip in those days for multiple shots? Or did you have to just use one shot at a time?
Oh, no, we had
You had a clip?
clip.
Now, from what I understand here on your record, you say you took also training at cook and baker school. Is that correct?
Yeah, right.
What did you learn how to cook there?
What did I learn how to cook?
Yeah,
Anything.
roast. Did you peel potatoes?
Not me.
Okay. But in those days, they didn't peel potatoes anymore because they had a machine. Is that
Machine.
correct?
Right.
Okay. 'Cause a lot of people, when they say they worked in the kitchen, they think of peeling potatoes, but you never
No.
peeled potatoes.
No.
They had a machine. Okay. And did you arrive at any special level in your cook and baker school over there?
I just went to PFC, private first class.
Okay.
From there, I went to Seattle, Fort Lewis.
Okay. And in Seoul? Okay. Is that where?
Yeah,
Okay.
I remember now, yeah,
Yeah. And did your ship land at Seoul?
at Seoul,
And there is a harbor right outside of Seoul?
yeah.
Okay. And when did you arrive in Korea?
1951.
Okay. What was it like there? Describe it.
To me, it looked like New Hampshire. I went to the mountains after I got in Busan. Then we went to what part of the mountains? I knew I thought it was New Hampshire land.
So it looks, is there any town in New Hampshire that you can compare it to?
There wasn't no towns. It was just
A lot of greenery? Tell me, did you witness?
fire and smoke,
There was.
yeah.
Was there any combat at that time in Seoul?
No.
Okay, this was sometime after the Korean War had started.
Yes.
Okay. And when you arrived in Korea in '51, what was your assignment at that time?
They took a few cooks here and there, and I was one of a few that took me to on a train, and 2 or 3 days on a train, and we came to my destination. It was a MASH 8225 MASH outfit, medical.
It was a medical unit.
Medical unit.
8225 MASH.
Right.
Now, MASH stands for?
Mobile Army Surgical Hospital.
So you were a medic.
I guess so.
So they took you out of cook school, cook training.
Well, I went and cooked
They
there.
took you out of the kitchen and put you into the medical,
Yes, but I still cooked.
with the medical MASH unit?
That's right.
Oh, I see.
Cooked for the MASH outfit.
Oh, I see. So you were a cook for the 8225th MASH
Right.
unit. Is that correct?
Right. Not too bad. We had a few wounded people we were taken care of.
Now, we see today the famous program called MASH. Was it anything like that? No?
No.
Okay. Did you have incoming helicopters with
Yes,
casualties?
yeah. We used to take them off and bring them into the tents.
And where would they land?
They had a platform which they would land, and we'd take them off and take them into the hospital where they operate.
In those days, this was new technology, wasn't it? Helicopters coming in with casualties.
Yes, okay.
Away from the actual hospital was the landing unit where these helicopters
About
landed.
100 yards,
And did you assist with bringing in the casualties,
yes.
even though you were a cook?
Right. On my time off, I would help out.
Okay. So you did have some time off.
Right.
Okay. Um, How often how often did you go and help casualties? How often did you go and help
Oh,
unload the casualties?
almost
from-
every day,
Every day?
yeah.
And how many people could one helicopter carry?
4
How do they do that?
on the sides of,
On each side of
on
the
each
skids?
side. 2 on each side.
Really?
Right.
And how, were they protected in any way? They were on stretchers, but were they protected in any way?
No,
They were just out in the open?
just out in the open.
Really?
Yeah.
And was that the way it was all during your tour of duty out there?
That's right.
They didn't have any they weren't encapsulated?
No.
I see, okay. So, you actually did witness combat injuries
Yes,
from people coming in?
right.
And where would they come in from, Arthur?
I can't, I know what's the other side of the mountain, so I never remember the names.
Would this be in the vicinity of Seoul?
No,
In other words, you say you took the train. Chirwan?
Chirwan Valley, yeah,
Uh-huh. And there was quite a bit of fighting going on there?
yes,
Okay. So you had casualties coming in from the Chirwan Valley to your MASH unit, is that correct?
right.
Did you ever have any North Korean casualties come in?
One,
You had one?
yeah,
Did he survive?
he survived.
And how did he feel about being treated by the
They
Americans?
didn't like it.
He didn't?
No.
So what did they do, treat him and then put him in a prisoner war camp?
That's right.
I see. All right. How many people were in your MASH unit?
137,
And how many people cooked for them?
about 6.
6. And how were your food supplies?
They came in
By helicopter?
by helicopter.
So you didn't have any problem with food?
No,
And were you there?
it was hot.
It was hot?
I was there in the summertime. I went through the winter.
How was the
Then
winter?
it was very cold.
So it was either very hot or very cold?
Yeah, our oil used to freeze.
Really?
We would go to bed at night. We had oil would be frozen,
Really?
and everything was cold.
Really? Even though the oil stoves were burning?
That's right. They
Isn't that
would
weird?
freeze and just go out.
Did this also create, was this also the situation with the vehicles?
No, because they had those running all the time.
The ambulances and the
Right.
jeeps running off in it? And who was your commander? Do you recall him?
I can't recall.
Was he a major grade or colonel or general?
He was a colonel.
He was a colonel? Was he an MD?
Yes,
He was a doctor. How many doctors did you have?
6 doctors.
And how many surgical rooms did you have there?
3.
Were they rooms or were they tents?
They're tents.
So they operated in tents,
Tents.
no matter whether it was hot or cold, is that correct? And all the other facilities were all tents too?
Yeah.
Very similar to the TV program. as far as that's concerned.
Exactly.
Really?
Yeah.
So the living conditions were like the TV program MASH, but
Right.
not, but what else happened with an actually there? How many nurses did you have? Or did you have any nurses?
No nurses.
No nurses? So you, in a sense, your major job was to do the cooking and the baking,
Right.
and your off-duty job was to take wounded soldiers off the helicopters.
Right.
All right. Anything else? Did you do anything else on your off time?
Well, I had some time. I wrote letters. And we had a little recreation, like horseshoes.
Did you ever leave Korea to go to a rehabilitation center or something like that?
Yes, when I had a surgery done for my hernia, they flew me to Japan,
Where's that?
Osaka, Nagoya,
Okay.
and I had my surgery.
What you do, have a hernia during the course of your
Yeah,
work over there in
Right.
Korea? Lifting one of the
lifting
fellows from the
everything.
helicopters?
Right.
I see. So how'd you get to Japan?
I flew.
Certainly not by helicopter.
No, I flew by a transport
Okay.
plane.
All right. So they repaired your hernia at
Right.
Osaka.
Uh-huh.
And how are the facilities in Osaka?
Good, very good.
Really? Did we have an American base there? American facilities?
Yes, wait a minute, no, oh, wait.
Okay.
I didn't get my surgery in Osaka. Osaka? Did I say
I
Osaka?
thought you said you went to Osaka.
Osaka, okay,
So you flew to Osaka.
right,
Okay. Now, do we have an American base there?
yes,
Is that where your surgery took place?
right.
And how long did it take for you to get your surgery done there?
I was there for about a week,
What happened after that?
and then I had Osaka.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we would go to visit quite a bit of drinking,
Yeah.
and, no, we had a good, yeah,
Populous?
yeah,
Did they have any resentment against you?
no,
Well, you know, a lot of people today, but they didn't, you got along well with them.
right,
And you didn't witness any situation where they were hostile towards you?
no,
No hostility?
no,
Okay, so how long was your R&R in Osaka?
10 days.
And what would you do during those 10 days? You say you had some drinking, you did some drinking, you did see anything, do anything else?
Resting,
Resting? And you went around and saw the town, do they have nightclubs there?
yeah,
And did you see any devastation there?
no,
No devastation? They had pretty well built it up.
right.
All right. What did you think of Osaka?
I think it was nice.
Can you compare it to any American city?
I can't recall.
Like New York or Boston or any city like that? Or was it just
Well,
something special?
like I said, okay, it could be Providence.
It could be Providence? Okay. And they had plenty of electricity. And how was the transport? The buses,
Buses,
trolleys?
right.
All right. And, of course, air. Did you want to go back to Korea after your
No,
experience?
thank you.
Huh?
No, thanks.
But did you?
No,
You didn't?
I didn't.
Okay. And from there, where did you go?
Well, I heard my name called to go see this Colonel so-and-so. And when I did see him, I asked him, what did you want? He said, how long do you have left in the Army? I said, 101 days. So I said, you might as well go home. So that's where my happiness was, a jump for joy.
And your initial tour of duty was for 3 years? 2 years?
No, 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah,
Okay. So you were happy to be sent home with 101 days left?
right.
Okay. You stated that you treated one North Korean, as you stated.
Right.
Did you have other prisoners of war in the area? In your MASH
Oh,
area?
yes, yeah.
How many did you have, about?
About 40, not many.
Did you have any contact with them?
No.
And
Well, I had to feed them, yes.
how did you feed the POWs?
Well, I would give it to the Korean kids in the tray, and they would take them in. I wouldn't go inside the
Inside the
compound,
compound?
yeah.
When
The
you
prison
say-
compound.
Hmm?
The prison compound, I wouldn't go inside.
When you say you gave the food to the Korean kids, you mean,
All cooked, already cooked.
are these Korean kids in our army, or were they local, or what?
They were local kids.
And how did you get them to bring the food over there?
We'd give it on the tray,
Yeah,
and they would take it over.
but were these Korean kids simply children?
Well, I would say they were 10, 12 years old. We used to call them, I can't remember what we used to call them.
But these would be they weren't in the Korean
military,
Army?
no
Non-military?
No,
So would it be fair to say that they were hanging around to make a few extra bucks?
that's right,
To do this, and
Yeah.
you utilized them, and they were willing to do it?
right,
Okay. And of course, they got fed for doing that, I suppose.
right.
Now, had your MASH unit moved at any time from the time you first joined it?
Yes.
Why was that?
I think action was getting a little too close, so we had to move back.
Okay. What was the, what would you say, how far would you say you were from the actual action?
About a mile.
So the helicopters would bring him in from
Right. That's
about a
right.
mile distance
Yeah.
to obtain treatment. When you moved a MASH unit, tell us how you did that.
Well, we had to tear down all our tents, which we worked very hard putting up, and put them on the trucks, and all the equipment, operation equipment, put them on the trucks. And we started going back. We hit a lot of muck, mountain roads, and that's how I got a hernia from sliding and trying to hold on to myself.
Okay. You say the roads were pretty muddy.
Yeah.
And how were your trucks? Did you have enough rolling stock? Did you have enough trucks and
Yes,
vehicles?
we had plenty of trucks.
You did?
Yeah.
You say when you had to move your operation equipment, can understand tables and chairs, but what about some of the lights and operating tables and surgical tables? Were they pretty heavy?
Yeah.
And did you have enough people to?
Well, we had all our Army personnel. We all did the work.
And how long did it take to move a MASH unit from one place to another?
About 3 days, 2-3 days.
Okay, so when the fighting got close, you moved back?
We moved back.
Okay. And how many times did you go through this kind of move?
Just once, and that's when I was on my way home.
And that was from the Chowan, close to the Chowan
Chowan.
Valley to further close to
Yeah,
Seoul?
yeah.
And where was the second place where you stopped, if you remember?
I think it was Inji Pass.
Inji Pass?
Yeah,
Okay. So you had a scout for a suitable unit?
right.
A suitable area, is that
Uh-huh.
right? Okay.
Then there was a Quonset hut there too. We stopped. That's where we stopped, at the Quonset hut. I guess they knew where they were going,
Also, they scouted out in advance
Yeah.
of you moving.
and we took over a building like this. And then we started setting up our tents.
Okay. And you also set up your kitchen.
Right.
And how did that?
There were field stoves.
Field stoves?
Yeah.
What'd you use for fuel?
Kerosene.
You cooked on the kerosene?
Right.
And so when the colonel told you that you'd just as soon go home because you only had 100 days left,
Right.
you were pretty happy about that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You had no gung-ho instinct to fight the enemy from then on?
No way.
What did you feel about the Korean conflict? How did you feel about it?
Well, I didn't feel nothing. I just wanted to go home.
In other words,
I just wanted to do my time and go home. I didn't feel nothing.
you didn't have any feelings as to whether we should be there or we shouldn't be there or anything else?
No, I always used to ask myself, what am I doing and why are we here? I never got an answer.
Did you ever have any sessions with your officers or with your unit with regard to that very question as to your mission, what you were doing there, why you were there?
No,
Nothing like that?
no,
You had no motivation sessions, so to speak?
no.
Okay. So when you left Korea, you left from Osaka, Japan?
Right.
All right. And you had no desire to stay and enjoy Japan before you left? You just wanted
No,
to leave?
I wanted to go home.
You did?
I miss my home.
Okay. And how did you get home?
I was in Japan, and I went home to, we got on a ship, and we went to Seattle, back to Seattle.
Nonstop?
On a ship, yeah.
In other words, you didn't stop along the way to Guam,
No,
Saipan? What ship?
I can't remember.
Was it a regular troop
It
ship?
was a, yeah, troop ship.
And did you go back with other wounded? Or
Yes.
other
Right.
people that were being
Oh, they were
recycled?
all GIs.
Did you find that the GIs were being regularly recycled to go to Korea? At the end of their tour, they would replace them.
Yeah, they replace them.
So when you arrived at Seattle, then what happened?
Then I flew back to Boston,
Direct?
Fort Devens. Yeah,
Okay, by military transport?
right.
Did you, other than being in Osaka and interact with some of the local people there, did you interact with any Koreans?
No,
You didn't speak to them at all?
no, all I know is one couple of words, it's all.
What were they?
Come up, somebody die.
What's that?
That means thank you very much.
Kamamsam bida.
Yeah,
Okay. Did you have occasion to use that phrase very often?
several times.
Really?
Yeah,
For what?
well, when they give me things,
What did they give you?
when I buy something from them, and I tell them, Kuma, somebody die.
They had things to sell in Korea?
Yeah,
Like what? What kind of shops did they have?
bathrobes and nightgowns for the women. I bought a few and brought them home.
All right. Now, while you were in Korea, did you correspond with your parents and family?
Yes, by letter,
Who else did you correspond with?
my friends.
Okay, so they knew who you were.
Yeah.
So there was a regular letter writing campaign going on,
Yes.
and you received a lot of letters?
Uh-huh.
How did you feel about getting mail from your friends and family?
Oh, it felt good.
A mail call every day?
Right.
Okay. And you were always anxious to get back home?
Yes.
Okay. And when you got to Seattle, did you call your family?
Happy, so right away. Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. They were happy to hear from you?
Right.
Okay. So, you came back, and I have here that you arrived home to Fort Devens first,
Yes.
and then to Providence?
Then to Providence.
Oh.
Then I hitchhiked to Providence. I got to Boston,
Hmm.
and I hitchhiked, and you'd never guess who stopped to pick me up.
Who was that?
My next door neighbor.
Really?
And I just come home, right? My duffel bag,
Yeah.
and he says, "Is that you, Arthur?" I says, "Yeah." He says, "I can't believe it." He says, I'm going home."
Where were you hitchhiking from?
What is that?
Well, you first had to hitchhike out of Fort Devens.
Stop. There's a circle, and every time I go by there, I think of it. in Cambridge,
In Cambridge. Fresh Pond?
Fresh Pond Circle.
How did you get there from Fort Devens
I hitchhiked from Fort Devens to
to Fresh Pond Circle?
Fresh Pond Circle, and then I got picked up from my friend, my neighbor, my next door neighbor.
Were you in uniform?
Yes,
And in those days, people respected the uniform.
yeah,
They didn't
yeah.
hold it against you.
No, no, they always gave us a ride.
Really?
Yeah,
And so your next door neighbor picked you up at Fresh Pond
right.
and drove you all the way home.
Uh-huh.
That's really a,
Yeah, isn't that something?
and you talked about what you were doing?
Right, right. He was so happy to see me.
Who was that?
My neighbor,
Yeah. What's his name?
Arthur Burgle.
Really?
Yeah,
And he lived in Providence too?
right next door.
Okay. So you had some medals awarded to you, didn't you?
Yes,
And some of these medals were battle stars.
right.
What were they? What were they for?
Well, they were for, my outfit up ahead was in battle,
The MASH unit?
the mass units.
In other words, your medical people were actually
Right.
in combat?
Some were in combat.
Is that because you were overrun?
We're over, no, because we had extra soldiers to guard us while we did our work.
Provide a perimeter?
Yeah, they were the ones who got the battle stars. So we had some of those.
Okay. And this was for defending against possible infiltrators from
Infiltration,
North Korea.
that's right.
So you have some of those battle stars, and you're going to show them to us sometime.
Sometime. I
Okay.
couldn't find them today.
How many battle stars did you have?
4 battle stars, plus one from the President Sigmund Rhee.
Really?
Yeah, he gave me a star.
Not in prison, sir.
No,
But it was a Korean presidential
That's
battle
right.
star. Okay. And you were also awarded the Korean Medal, I guess.
yeah,
And so when you returned to Providence, there was no need for you to report back to anyone else for processing. You had already processed from
from
Fort Devens.
Devens.
I see. So how did you end up in Watertown?
Oh, I met a girl from here.
From
And
Providence
Yeah,
or Watertown?
well, she came to Providence to a dance, and I met her,
Yeah.
and it was love at first sight.
And that's where you ended up?
Right,
So you're living now in Watertown? You've
Watertown.
lived here for how long?
47 years.
In Post, the impasse.
Mike Mamishin was a cousin, my wife's cousin.
Who?
Mike Mamishin,
Mamisha?
yeah,
Oh, yes.
was my wife's cousin, and we used to visit, and he told me about this club, and I joined right away because he belonged to it.
And where were the Embets at that
On
time?
Mount Auburn Street, in Watertown.
Is that opposite where Eastern Baking is? Eastern Lamagent?
No,
Where was that?
it's further down where the corner of Common Street. You know where the little cemetery is?
Common Street?
Yeah,
Okay.
across the street. You know where Russell Ave is?
Where?
Russell Ave?
Russell Ave?
Yeah, right across the street,
Across the street
on
from
the
there?
other side of Mount Auburn.
Yeah,
There was a house there.
I see.
They sold that house and they came here. They knocked that house down and built a small condo.
Uh-huh, okay. So you've been a member of the Masubian Post for how long?
47 years.
And you've enjoyed your comradeship.
Absolutely.
Have you had occasion to visit with any of your old service buddies or people? Have you ever had
No,
any
we're
reunions?
too far away.
Yeah. Where were they located?
New Jersey, Texas.
But you never had occasion to have a
No, we're
reunion?
too far away.
Yeah,
I would love to.
yeah. Do you get any notices from them or?
Nothing. Nothing.
notices of any reunions or anything else?
Just lost.
Really?
Just kaput.
Did you keep your personal MOS or, did you keep your personal 201 file with you? Do you have a personal military file with all of your orders and everything else in them?
No,
You didn't keep any of it?
nothing.
Yeah, okay. So, when you came to Watertown, what was your first job? Did you go back into the printing?
No. I worked at Star Market as a baker.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That was the one in Cambridge?
Yes.
And how long did you work there?
A couple of years.
After that?
After that, I worked for Ryerson Steel.
What did you do for them?
I was a crane operator.
Enjoy that work?
Yeah, I loved it. I got laid off.
Did you ever use the GI Bill when you got back
No.
from service?
No.
So you never were able to take advantage of the GI Bill?
No.
And you are now a member of the Post, and we see you here every month, and we're happy to be there. Is there anything about your service in the Army that you'd like to comment on? Keeping in mind that this film will probably be shown in the year 2010 somewhere.
Well, I did mind the Army. I liked it. But not for a career.
Did you see more of this country than you would have if you had stayed local?
No.
Did you at all gain an appreciation of the vastness of the United States that you didn't know before?
Yeah. I never knew California before.
Yeah.
Or I never knew Seattle.
I mean, did it ever come to you to say, my God, what a big country we've got?
Yeah.
Did it occur to you?
Big, beautiful country, right?
Yes. Right.
It was worth fighting for.
Yes. And did it ever occur to you to protest against the service or against the government or against the administration?
No.
And you were obviously happy with the service that you did. You didn't, you went gung-ho, but you didn't react against the draft.
No.
You wanted to serve your country.
Right.
Did you ever feel that your service was some kind of a payback for the country that your parents came to? Did you ever have that kind of a feeling?
No.
No. You considered yourself an American citizen? and
Right.
That was it?
Right.
Okay. Well, if that's it, then we'll conclude this interview. And hold on just a minute. And what we're going to do is conclude the interview, and I'll sign off here with you. This is Greg Arabian, Oral History Director of Post 41, and the date, for the record, is September 8, Monday, September 8, 2003. We want to thank you for your participation in the Oral History Project.
Okay, thank you.
Arthur?
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. We'll end it.